What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we're talking our college football week 8 best bets. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. If you've done that, thank you. It helps us a ton. We're also brought to you by Bet365. They have a deal for those of you in Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Virginia, Iowa, Colorado, Louisiana, Indiana, Arizona, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. What you'll do is click the link below, make your first deposit, then make a $5 wager on any game. Could be a side or a total. Whether it wins or loses, you are getting $200 in the form of bonus bets. You must be 21 or older to play, 18 in Kentucky. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. But make sure you take advantage of that. I can guarantee you these are not around forever. And it's always great to get these deals when they're available. All right, so we're going to do 3 games today. The 3 biggest games of the slate, according to my estimation. If you want more games or more in-depth coverage for these 3 games, Betting You is live. Myself and Ben Ross have talked all the biggest games and some of the greasy games for this Week 8 slate as well, in depth on the very channel. Big games, we can't go anywhere without starting Georgia and Texas. Biggest game in the SEC, undefeated Texas puts it on the line against Georgia, who's on the road. This game has moved a lot in terms of the total and spread, mainly the spread. Georgia's now a 5.5-point underdog in a certain spot. The consensus is pretty much a 5 or a 4.5. The total's 56.5. But yeah, you can find a 5.5 if you want it with Georgia, which is the side I look at because, largely in this spot, Georgia's concerns in the game are health. It's what's gotten them beaten up so far this year. Their defense has been the biggest concern, and I'm not sure it's getting better because it's largely injury driven. They're down multiple starters on this defense. And you look right away, like even the guys that have returned, they haven't even returned to full health. Warren Brinson and Micah Williams have both played, but they're both like in the teens for snaps. So how healthy are they really? I mean, hopefully they ramp up in snaps, but Jordan Hall still hasn't played on the defensive line. Smale Munden's been out. They're down 2 starters on the offensive line. That's a little less concerning to me because they were very deep. And honestly, early returns from the backups have been pretty good. They're still 4th in pass blocking, 46 in run blocking. So I'm still a little tripped up by some of the defensive injuries. Even their secondary has been bad. Guys like Dan Jackson have been an absolute liability. And they've been diced up multiple times now. We saw Milroe get them. Peyton Thorne was at 7.5 yards per attempt. Michael Van Buren was at 8.3. Ewer should have success in this game on offense. And looks like Isaiah Bond's going to play full complement of skill players. Offensive line is great for Texas. The only real concern I have with the Longhorns is they haven't played anyone either. And this, I think, is more of a concern on defense because we've seen the Texas offense for a few years now, and we've seen the receivers. Most of them are transfers or are extremely good recruits. But on defense, we had them pretty good coming into the year, certainly above average towards the top 10. But they've been playing like the number 1 unit in the country or top 3. They faced Braden Fowler Nicolosi of Colorado State, Davis Warren of Michigan, who's now a 3rd stringer, Owen McCown of UTSA. He's been in and out of the lineup. General Booty of UL Monroe, now a backup. Michael Van Buren of Mississippi State, a backup. And Michael Hawkins of Oklahoma, backup. Obviously, the SEC teams are better data points than the G5 opponents, but still, they have not faced a good level of competition at quarterback. Is this the number 3 defense, number 2, number 1 defense in the country, or are they just in the top 15? I think that matters because all the shade Beck has been getting, he's actually played really well this year, and especially of late. He had a terrible game against Alabama, especially at the end when he had to play hero ball and it cost him. But Beck has quietly been very good, 68% completion for 8.7 yards per attempt. The lean is Georgia. We will see if this keeps moving. I will certainly have a position if it does. Next up, we are going to go to the Alabama tilt. This is a huge game. Alabama takes on Tennessee. Currently a 3-point spread. There is a 2.5 hanging out there. Very, very juiced, but I think the 3s at -110 are completely fine. I took an Alabama at -2.5 very early in the week and avoided some of the juice. It is just at a -110. But honestly, you're not sacrificing that much with a half point. Tennessee, I'm very worried about, especially on defense. And their offense has a lot of concerns too. But let's start with the defensive side of the ball. Coming into the year, we had a lot of concerns with their secondary. They lost one of their starters to begin the year, their nickel, and they've gotten by with an elite pass rush. That has been victimized at times of late. Taylon Green got them 9.9 yards per attempt. Graham Mertz was at 8.3 for whatever reason. DJ Lagway couldn't do the same thing. But their secondary is a liability if their pass rush doesn't get home. Alabama has an excellent offensive line and is getting better now that Caden Proctor's been back. They've jumped all the way to 23rd in pass blocking. And if you give Milroe time, he's going to beat you. Just flat out is what it is. And then they lost Keenan Peely. This is Tennessee again. Their leading tackler to an ACL, which further hurts their defense. I'm fully expecting Alabama to move the ball really at will here. On the other side, Tennessee's offense has decent efficiency metrics, but they're hyperinflated by that non-con. You look at what Iamaleava has done of late. He only has 2 touchdowns since week 2, and he has 0 touchdowns in the last 2 games. That's compounded by a bunch of turnovers and turnover-worthy plays. Not to mention the O-line is not really doing him any favors. They have had injuries. Campbell and Hurd have both been in and out of the lineup, but last week they were both in there, and Tennessee still had to bench 2 starters. Campbell hit the bench, and Spraggins hit the bench. Their O-line is 55th in pass blocking, 109th in run blocking. Iamaleava has been taking a step back, and because of that, they've just been forced to run the ball about 25 times per game with Dylan Sampson. That's going to be a huge problem against Alabama, who's a team that I don't love on defense, but their primary concerns are in the secondary where they're very young. This defense is better up front, which is a terrible matchup for Tennessee in this spot. To be exact, Alabama right now is 9th in run defense, but 23rd in coverage. I mean, they're still pretty good at both. The only place they've shown leaks is in coverage. But anyway, like this game minus 2.5, I am fully planning on backing the Tide here, and I would back them through 3. I don't know why I said I would. I already did bet this. And last up, this is a far cry from the other elite games we talked about, but Indiana's still undefeated. They're getting their toughest test. I'll tentatively rank this as the 3rd best game. There's a lot of other candidates, so no shade to whatever you think it is. If you do think another game is more worthy, go watch Betting You. We certainly talked about it. But anyway, Indiana 6.5-point favorite in this spot. And the total in this game has been up and down a little bit so far, but currently it's at 51. I do have some interest in the under in this one as well, but I did take Indiana. This is their toughest test, but Indiana has quietly been checking off a lot of boxes so far this year. And I have some questions with Nebraska, especially on offense. And it's not just Raiola. Raiola is part of the problem, I think, but his offense is doing him no favors. It's largely the product of their O-line. They've had 3 major injuries on this unit. They're currently 73rd in pass blocking. They are 26th in run blocking, but their running backs haven't gotten much going, interestingly. But Raiola already has negative 78 rushing yards. While he's not throwing a lot of picks, he only has 3. He's taking a lot of sacks, and those can be just as bad as interceptions at times. And I'm not sure this is going to get better with how many injuries they've sustained on the offensive line. Meanwhile, you have Indiana, who's quietly been pretty good on defense. Their data points are getting better. I got to admit, this is a very easy level of competition for Indiana. But you're starting to play better teams like Maryland, Northwestern. It's better at least than your non-con. Currently, they're 11th on defense, 7th in pass rush. Fully expecting them to try to get after Raiola and get him playing out of composure in this game. Then on the other side, Indiana's offense has been absolutely humming. Nebraska is 22nd on defense. This is the best defense Indiana has faced this year. It's not particularly close. They do have a couple things to worry about. Tommy Hill's a game-time decision at corner for this contest. But generally speaking, I think it's pretty clean on both sides defensively for health. Even Jalen Walker, who got injured for Indiana, is expected to return. I still have a lot of faith in Indiana, though. They're currently 2nd in offense. Very good O-line, 20th in pass blocking, 12th in run blocking. Keeping Rourke upright and clean. The weapons are doing plenty of work for them. They go about 3 deep at running back. It's also a tough matchup for Nebraska. And, the cherry on top of this matchup is Nebraska's special teams are dead last in the entire country. This could be a huge X factor. Indiana's 25th. Nebraska's dead last. Nebraska's had either multiple field goals or punts blocked in consecutive games now. Their kickers combined are 4 of 9 on field goal attempts. When games are tight, Nebraska is going to have problems, as they've had for years now. But that'll do it for us. 3 up, 3 down. If you want more Betting You on this channel, I'll mention it again. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and reach out on Twitter if you have any questions. I'm at Matt_Gajewski. Otherwise, we'll be back again next week. And until then, good luck. We'll see you later.